Hey there, crypto traders. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Morpheus Crypto. In our last video, we focused on the recent price action of Bitcoin, the king of crypto. Bitcoin had recently broken below key support of an uptrend line that had been in place since the beginning of this year. And that's this yellow line you see here. And Bitcoin broke below that uptrend line and sold off sharply on August 17th. And in our last video, we showed you how Bitcoin, even though it sold off sharply, it was actually still above long-term support of an uptrend line that's been in place since the beginning of 2020. So you can see here the pink line is the 3-year uptrend line. And even though we broke below this shorter term uptrend line from the beginning of this year, we're still above support of the longer term uptrend line. So not much has changed since then. Bitcoin's price action has been relatively quiet. In fact, over the past few days, very tight sideways price action. And that means that our analysis for Bitcoin remains the same. Bitcoin remains above support of this long-term uptrend line. That's the big picture view anyway. And we see that the 50-week moving average is now nearing this uptrend line. So we're going to soon have convergence of this red line, the 50-week moving average, converging with the 3-year uptrend line. So that means that the 24 to 25,000 area is going to be very significant support here in the coming weeks. But we've also got significant resistance because of the recent breakdown below the trend line that's been in place throughout 2023. So we're not going to talk a lot about Bitcoin today because our last video kind of covered that pretty well. You can take a look at that for an updated look at Bitcoin. But today's video, we're going to talk about Ethereum and take a look at multiple timeframes of Ethereum to see where Ethereum may be headed. This is important because Ethereum is a benchmark for the overall health of the altcoin market. So generally, if Ethereum is strong and healthy, then we'll see a lot of relative strength in leading altcoins. And if Ethereum is lagging behind Bitcoin, then generally the altcoin market's going to be pretty stagnant or not having a lot of action as well. So before we dive into taking a look at Ethereum's chart, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to make sure that you don't miss out on any future videos. And remember that everything we say in our videos is not financial advice. It's simply our interpretation of what the charts say. So let's see what the charts say. All right, here you've got the daily chart of Ethereum. And very similar to Bitcoin, Ethereum broke down below support of an uptrend line that had been in place throughout all of 2023. You can see here the clean break, which led to a sharp sell-off on higher volume. Very similar to Bitcoin, Ethereum has been trading in a tight sideways range for the past week. In our last video on August 22nd, both Bitcoin and Ethereum had formed a bullish hammer candlestick that day, but the reversal failed to gather any momentum. We followed through the next day with a rally to the upside, but look how the 10-day moving average, this green line, acted as resistance and prevented the rally from going any further. And 2 days later, the market had given back all of its gains. So now we've got the price action remaining below resistance of this 10-day moving average in the short term. And previously, the 10-day moving average, when we were in an uptrend, was acting as support. Now it's become resistance. If we do get any of a rally attempt above this 10-day moving average, here are the key resistance levels you want to watch. So the first resistance level we're going to need to contend with is obviously this 10-day moving average, which would mean a rally above the 3-day high puts the price of Ethereum back above the 10-day moving average. But even if the price manages to pop above that 10-day MA, don't get too excited because there's a lot of overhead supply that was created from the failed bullish reversal last week. When the market reversed and rallied the next day above the range but stalled, all the traders who bought that bullish reversal are trapped. So that means that we're going to need a significant amount of volume to be able to overcome this resistance from last week's failed breakout. So let's keep an eye on also the high of this range. So right around 1702, that's the high of the bullish reversal before it stalled. So that's going to be a key level to watch right at 1702, which is also from right after the first sell-off. That's the high. Couldn't get above 1700 the first couple of days. If Ethereum manages to get above this 1700 level, then keep an eye on the 20-day moving average, which is descending, but currently at 1733, this blue line. Notice how back in earlier this month, before the big sell-off, notice how that 20-day moving average perfectly acted as resistance for a week when Ethereum was trying to rally after getting back above its 10-day MA. It failed to do so because the 20-day MA held the rally attempt in check. So that 20-day MA is pretty significant. So 1700 is the first point, 1733. If we manage to get above that, then of course we've got much more major resistance of this prior base that we broke down below, as well as the declining 50-day moving average, as well as the prior uptrend line. But one day at a time, we first got to get back above the 1700 area before anything noteworthy could happen in the market. Now, one thing we did notice here that could be encouraging is we have a potential formation of what we call an ascending triangle pattern. And it's a little bit early, but it's the start of one. And basically, an ascending triangle means that we've got higher lows that have been formed off the lows. And you can see here I'm drawing, that's the bottom channel. You can see the higher low that formed on August 22nd. And we may form another higher low here if we get any further selling on a test of this trend line. So when we've got higher lows forming on the daily chart, and at the high, we've got sideways price action that forms an ascending triangle. You can see the triangle here, and that's called an ascending triangle. Now, an ascending triangle is often a bullish chart pattern. However, the ascending triangle tends to follow through more when we're already in an uptrend. And obviously, you can see here that we've entered into a new intermediate term downtrend after firmly breaking below the 50-day moving average and having the moving averages stacked in this order. We're actually in a downtrend. So there are less odds of an ascending triangle following through to the upside, but nonetheless, it's encouraging that we are forming higher lows. So if we continue to form higher lows, that's key. If we get any further selling, I mean, we may see an undercut of this ascending line here, but the real key levels, we wouldn't want to see a breakdown below the low of the August 22nd low, which is right at 1580. If we got below that, then we've got a lower low that's formed on the daily chart, and that would probably lead to a very quick retest of the August 17th low. And if that breaks, well, then we could fall quite a ways. Let's zoom out to the longer term weekly chart of Ethereum, where each bar represents one full week of price action. You take a look here, you can see that the 2030 level, 2030, is a significant resistance level, which was the highs of August 2022, also was the highs of July 2023. And back in April of this year, we tried to get above that level with a significant breakout, but the breakout failed. So really this, just above 2000 is the upper channel resistance of this sideways range. And as for support, we've been holding firmly above the 1000 level now since June of 2022. So if you kind of take a look, forget about the trend lines for a minute and take a look at the horizontal consolidation that's been forming, it actually looks like a completely different story here. If we zoom out, we can see that we really have Ethereum consolidating in the big picture. Now, in the shorter term, it's not such a good picture, just like with Bitcoin, because we broke below that uptrend line I showed you from the beginning of 2023. And over the past 3 weeks, Ethereum has been holding right at support of its 50-week moving average, which is this red line. And that's why I said if we break into a new swing low below those prior lows that I showed you on the daily chart, then that would also represent a breakdown below this 50-week moving average. And therefore, if we break below that 50-week moving average, bearish momentum could take us significantly lower within this range. Now, if we take a look here, we do see a bit of support back from March of 2023 at the 1368 level. And so that would be the next stop, really. If we don't hold this low of the past 3 weeks, we'd break down, could see a move all the way down to the 1370 area, which would put us in the lower half of this trading range that's been in place now for almost a year and a half. Zooming back into the daily chart, there's really not much you want to do here unless we start to get back above these resistance levels that I showed you earlier. Let's conclude with just taking a quick updated look at Bitcoin. Remember, we said in our last video that Bitcoin had formed a bullish hammer, but as I mentioned, we followed through the next day and then it failed. So that bullish hammer is no longer valid or in place. But with Bitcoin, very similar to Ethereum, we did break that year-long uptrend line. But remember, we've got the long-term uptrend line on the weekly chart. And as for resistance levels, I want to keep an eye on the high of that bullish reversal day last week. 26,800 is a short-term resistance level to watch. If we get above that, then we've got the 20-day moving average at 27,400. And then lots of resistance right around the 29,000 area. Just below 29,000, we have the 50-day moving average and resistance of the lows of the prior base that we broke below. And very much like Ethereum, we've also got higher low formed barely here. So it's not really an ascending triangle pattern. That low almost matched the prior low, but nonetheless, it's constructive. So for support, we again watch these lows of August 22nd and lows of August 17th. A break below those lows could very quickly take us down to the support level that we talked about earlier, which is convergence of this 3-year long uptrend line with the 50-week moving average right around 24,000. So obviously, we are not here to anticipate or predict what the market will do. Rather, we take a look at the charts and just try to navigate the market based upon where the support and resistance levels are. So we trade what we see, not what we think. We hope you found this analysis on Ethereum and Bitcoin helpful. And if you'd like to learn more about our crypto trading strategy or to receive free crypto trading ideas every day, head on over to morpheustrading.com and just drop your email on the form and we'll get you started. Thanks for watching and see you back here in our next Morpheus crypto video.